This week on my Creative Flow website, we've got all kinds of new material for you, including a new image of Godzilla in the style of painter Hieronymus Bosch, a kitten with butterfly, and a behind-the-scenes story of the directing of my first feature, The Strangeness, back in 1979. Lot to see, so let's get to it and go through it real quick so you know what's on the website. There's me and my Aunt Toots in 1956. Crazy lady with a lot of good jokes. Loved her very much. Whole story about that. Cary Grant's suit. The Cary Grant suit is very famous and was actually used by Tom Cruise and Ben Affleck later on because it's so good. Dramatica Basics Audio Class Part 14. That's about the theory of story structure I co-created with my partner, Chris Huntley, back in the 1990s. That's been used by hundreds of thousands of people, including Academy Award winners and a Pulitzer Prize winner. You'll learn all about it there. Some art photographs that I've taken. Occasionally I find something interesting that other people do on the internet, so here's Sound of Music as an action movie. Pretty funny. Also this week, an original song of mine, 1882, about a creature going into a gold mine. Yes, indeed. And Beyond Dramatica 2. These are some recordings I made after the Dramatica Theory of Story that deal with more physics and biology and sociology and its relation to narrative. Finally, a home movie over here, 1957, Me and the Neighborhood Kids. That's me up there in the little car, pedal car. Now, here's another scene that Hieronymus Bosch never painted. Just something came up when I was experimenting with AI, but I kind of like it. Over here's another thing I found on the internet called the curator when I find something good, and that's one of my favorite shots. You've probably seen it around. The next episode in my science fiction thriller series about a mysterious force that moves across the world, around the globe, and as it does, it erases everything man-made, throwing people back beyond the Stone Age to where they don't have any kind of infrastructure and have to figure out how to survive. Art by Teresa that she made for my company based on high school pictures she took. Really good graphic art. An article on 10 essential tips for beginning writers that I penned some years ago, one of the more popular articles. Another bit of art photography, and finally, as promised, well, not quite finally, here's Godzilla in the style of Hieronymus Bosch. So sometimes I like to create AI art with a subject I'm interested in, painted by someone, in this case the 15th century painter of the Garden of Earthly Delights, something he would have never tackled, and yet it does seem to work with his style. Here's a song I wrote in my computer sketchbook, In Your Eyes, which is kind of a love song using placeholder words, just like Paul McCartney used scrambled eggs when he recorded Yesterday to hold the beat while he was writing it. Another home movie about the girl next door coming to visit. Dramatica Basics Audio Class 15. And finally, is it finally? No, second to last, we've got Butterfly Cat 1, another AI creation. There's a whole series of these and all kinds of other topics, and I post one every day or two. Finally, what we've got is today's reading of a 1979 update on the making of The Strangeness, a movie I directed in 1979-1980. And this tells you all about the putting together of it with a lot of snarky comments as I read it, because I was pretty naive in those days, and make sure to point that out. So anyway, there's Creative Flow for this week on my website. You can either click on Patreon in the upper left-hand corner of your screen, and that will take you there where you can see for free all of my very best stuff, and for $1 a month, you can see everything else too if you're a real fanatic. Otherwise, you can go to my website at storymind.com/Melanie, which I'll put down below, and see most of this stuff as well. That's it for today, and so without further ado, we will close this week's Creative Flow.